high call series.
Morning, children. So we have completed the lesson regarding the Democratic Republic of Congo in the previous class. So then we have already discussed that the world has got different climatic regions, and we are dealing with one particular country from one particular region, right? So we had already dealt one with the torrid zone around the equatorial region, and now it is a time for us to go to the polar region, right? So we know the two ends, the top and the bottom end, okay, from where the longitudes start and end are called the longitudes, the polar region, right? So the points from where the longitudes start and end, one in the top, the north, and the other in the south, are known as the polar region. And there is an Arctic Circle on the north and an Arctic Circle in the south, which is around 66.5 degree north and south. So now we are going to learn one particular region. It's not a country basically; it's a part of the country in the northern hemisphere, because we know southern hemisphere is mostly of oceans and not much land masses. And we have some solid land mass where human beings live is in the northern polar region, right? Southern polar region, we have a very big land mass called Antarctica, which is in the South Pole, but human beings do not live there because of its extreme cold conditions, right? So we need to study some land area where some human beings are able to live. Such kinds of land areas are found in the northern hemisphere, and we are going to learn a country, a region, which is called the Greenland. Okay, so Greenland is called the land of ice and the snow because just like the Antarctica, which is in the Antarctic Circle, Greenland is also a snow-covered land, right? Okay, so now we will know more about Greenland. Okay, so we know this is the equator and this is the Democratic Republic of Congo, which we have already studied in the previous lesson. This is the Arctic Circle, the northern Arctic Circle. This is the Antarctic Circle, which is in the south. It's a 66.5 degree north latitude, and this is 66.5 degree south latitude. This region is called the North Polar region, and this is called the South Polar region. Okay, so we are going to deal with the country. This is what we are going to deal with today, Greenland, right? So now we will have a look from the top, means from the North Pole side of this region. Yes. So this is the North Pole. Clear? This is the North Pole, and this is the Arctic Circle. The region inside it is shown in a different color. So we have some regions of Russia in Asia there. Then Alaska, which belongs to USA. Canada, the North American country of Canada. It has got plenty of regions over here. Then we have Greenland here. Then yes, Finland, Sweden, and Norway also in the Arctic region. Okay, so what are the major regions found here? The northern region, Siberian region of Russia, northern region of Alaska, northern Canada. Then Greenland, see, major part of Greenland is in the Arctic Circle. Then some portions of Norway, Sweden, and Finland in Europe. Okay, so these are the regions which are there in the Arctic Circle, right? Okay, yes, this is Greenland. Okay, this is the Arctic Circle, and this is a Greenland. Greenland is actually the biggest island in the world. Greenland is the biggest island in the world, and it's actually a part of a small kingdom here, Denmark. This kingdom in this country is called Denmark. So Greenland is a part of this country, or Greenland was once a colony of Dutch, and now it's ruled by the Dutch government. right? Yes. In the world map, see, this is what we call as Greenland. The biggest island, see, it's almost equal to that of, to be frank, this is comparatively bigger than Australia. Australia is the smallest continent we know. Greenland is the biggest island. But when we compare the size of these two, it's almost bigger than Australia. But the problem is, yeah, population and other aspects of this region is comparatively very less. And that is why it's not considered as a separated continent, but that is considered as an island. Right? And here we can see Denmark. Okay, so this is Denmark, and this big island of Greenland is a part of this Denmark. See, we have, this is India, and we have Andaman Nicobar Islands here and Lakshadweep Islands there, no? In the same way, Denmark is taking care of Greenland. Right? Okay. Now, when we look from the space, this is a North Pole, and this is Greenland. Okay, just like that of Antarctica, this also is a snow-covered region, right? So earlier, this island of Greenland was called Greenland by a Viking explorer. His name is Erik the Red. So Vikings and Norse and Vikings are two groups of people who belong to this region. Okay, there's a Norway-Swedish region who used to do a lot of ocean explorations. Okay, so they go in search of new lands and they establish trade links with them and all. So these people, the Vikings in this region, were very famous for that, and they were concentrating mostly on the European regions and these regions. Okay, they were not interested in doing the trade with other regions because they never knew that there is some regions like that. So this happened very many years ago. It happened in 981. Sorry, 981. It's 981. Erik the Red was a Viking explorer who came to this region, the southern region of Greenland, and it was he who named this island as a Greenland. Okay, so this island was actually then they established some settlements over there. Viking settlements started there. Means more and more Viking people came and they started living there in the possible areas of Greenland. Then in 1380, the Dutch people attacked this region and they conquered it. Dutch people means the people from the Denmark. Okay, so in 1380, the Dutch people conquered this Vikings who were settled over there, and they conquered it. And in 1953, it was internationally accepted as a region that belongs to Denmark. Okay, so they started it as a colony, and then they got an international acceptance, right? It's a full-fledged internal government. Means though this is a part of Denmark, this region has its own government, and that system started from 1981. Okay, so this is a short history of Greenland. So Greenland is an island which is there in the North Atlantic Ocean. So this is the North Atlantic Ocean part, and this is the Arctic Ocean. Okay, this is actually lying in between these two regions, right? The Northern Atlantic Ocean and the Arctic Ocean, right? It was an unknown island. In 981, Erik the Red, a Viking explorer, discovered this island and it was named as Greenland. In 1380, the Dutch people attacked it and made it a colony. In 1953, it was internationally accepted as a Dutch region or a land belonging to the Denmark. And from 1981, Greenland has its own government. Still, it is a Dutch, an area which belongs to Denmark. Okay, so this island of Greenland is just 650 kilometers away from the North Pole, right? 650 kilometers away from the North Pole and hardly 16 kilometers from Canada. So Canada has a large number of broken pieces, islands floating in this region. Okay. So the major land mass that lies very close to Greenland is Canada. So it's hardly 16 kilometers away from Canada and around 650 kilometers from the North Pole. And the northernmost land mass point means, see, all these are, this blue colored region is ocean, isn't it? Which is the northernmost land mass here? This is far, this is far, these are all very far. Something very close is this region, isn't it? Yes. So this region is the closest land mass to the North Pole, and that area is known as Cape Morris Jesup. This is a Cape Morris Jesup, and that is located in the Greenland. Okay, so the northernmost land mass, which is close to the pole, North Pole, is Cape Morris Jesup, and that is also located in the Greenland. Right? So in this picture, this is a picture which is taken from the satellite, and we can see this is a Arctic Ocean region which is covered in a ice cap, and this is a Greenland region which is also covered in ice. So Greenland is almost totally covered in ice except some regions on this coastal areas. Okay, and yes, see, this is something like the surface that is usually seen in Greenland. It's completely covered with ice, and at some areas, if you try to dig down deep into the ice to find the soil there, it may be something around 2 to 3 kilometers of ice. The thickness of ice on Greenland is something around 2 to 3 kilometers. You have to go 3 kilometers down into the ice if you want to reach the soil. Okay, but on the ice, we have huge mountain types of things are there, deep crevasses are there, the ice breaks away, making long and sharp and deep crater kind of stuffs. Alright, and on the ocean sides also, yes. So this is the Arctic Ocean, and this is the Greenland. Okay, and see, these are the ice caps. Ice cap means there's a 2 to 3 kilometers thick layer of ice that is seen on the Greenland land area is called ice cap. On the ocean sides also we can see huge ice caps, and sometimes what happens is these ice caps breaks. Okay, they are called ice cavings. So these ice caps, they breaks away, and these pieces of ice will start to flow in the water because they are in the Arctic Circle, no? Arctic Circle. So in the Arctic Ocean, they breaks away, they falls into this Arctic Ocean, and they starts to flow. And we know there are ocean currents are there, no? Towards the equator, the ocean is warmer, and towards the polar circle, it is cooler. So what happens? There is a flow of water happening in the ocean, known as ocean currents. And these ice cubes, the huge ice cubes, will start to flow based on this flow of ocean water. Okay, these broken away ice caps that are floating in the water are known as icebergs. Icebergs are very dangerous. Okay, so this is a floating mass of ice. This is a floating mass of ice which got broken away from the huge ice caps. And this is dangerous because, see, only this much is what we can see above the water, and this much is there below the water. Okay? what we can see on top of the water is comparatively very less, whereas the huge chunk of that will be below the water. So most often what happens is, Atlantic Ocean is the busiest ocean. Atlantic Ocean is the busiest ocean, and these icebergs from the Arctic Ocean flows directly into the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, from the Arctic Ocean they flow directly into Atlantic Ocean, and Atlantic Ocean is busy by ships and all, and these icebergs often cause severe damage for these ships. Most of them can even sink. You might have heard about the story of a ship called the Titanic, isn't it? Titanic, a very big ship when it was constructed, and on the very first voyage itself, it is sunk because it hit on an iceberg like this. Okay, so these icebergs, which gets away from the ice caps in the Greenland area, floats in the water, and they pose severe threat for the ships in the Atlantic Ocean also. Right? It's so big that it takes a lot of time to melt also. Right? Climate in Greenland. So climate is polar climate. Polar climate means what? It's very cool. See, polar region is the top and the bottom, the north and the south part of the globe, which receives a slanting sunrise, isn't it? On equator, it receives a straight sunlight. On polar region, it's a slanting. Okay, so it's not that hot. It travels a lot of time to reach the polar regions. So temperature is comparatively very less, and because of the tilt, it still receives a very small amount of sunlight. Okay, so because of this reason, what happens is summer is hardly for around 3 months in this region. Okay, out of 12 months, 3 months are summer, and the remaining 9 months are winter. So short summers, long winters. And how are the winters? Extremely cold. Right? Then, temperature is always below 0 degree. Even during summer, the temperature is below 0 degree. Right? Then, very little rainfall but heavy snowfall. This is another region in the world which receives very little rainfall. It doesn't rain at all almost throughout the year there, but snowfall is very heavy. It snows very heavy over there. Right? Then, polar winds around 160 kilometers per hour is blowing from the North Pole to this region throughout the winter. Okay, so very strong winds from the pole, where the earth is rotating, no? So as it rotates, yes, this is a pole region, and the winds will be forming very fast over there, and these winds blow at a speed of something around 160 kilometers per hour from the polar region. Okay, and these are some of the major features of the climatic conditions of Greenland. Okay, so summer is very short, and winter is long, and sun can be seen only during the summer season. During the winter season, we can hardly see any sun there. We cannot see sun. Okay, then temperature is always below 0 degree. Very little rainfall, but very heavy snowfall happens there. Polar winds at a speed of something around 160 kilometers per hour blows during the winter season. Right? Natural vegetation of Greenland. So, it's also a landmass where people, animals, plants and all these kinds of things live. And the question is it possible for plants to live on this land? We have seen in many of the regions, we have to dig up to 2 to 3 kilometers to reach the land. And such climatic conditions, is it possible to have plants? So plant life is very, very limited as far as Greenland is concerned. Only during the short summer season, and some regions the ice melt and there will be some land seen to the sun. Only on those regions we can find some moss or lichens or small flowering plants, grass type of flowering plants, which can have a maximum height of 15 centimeters. 15 centimeters means what? Yeah, one scale. Okay, that is the height of the biggest plant as far as Greenland is concerned, because the land is totally covered with snow, right? The ice cover on the land prevents plant growth over there. Plants are grown only during the short summer season, and they are mostly of yes, most varieties lichens and all, right? But wild animals, wildlife in Greenland is amazing. Though there are very less plants over there, it has a very good amount of animals over there. And among all the animals, the most important one is a reindeer. Reindeer is actually a regional animal over there, and it grows even to that of the size of a bull or a cow or an ox. Okay, this animal is actually grown by the people over there because yeah, they get the milk and the flesh from these animals. Okay, they use these animals for their milk and flesh and the skin also. Right? And another such animal is a musk ox. See how thick a hair it has got on its body. It is a very furry animal, and these are also grown for the purpose of fur and meat. Okay, another animal is a caribou. So in the olden days, these caribou horns were used as weapons by the people over there. Okay, and this also has got a thick fur here, and yeah, flesh and skin were mostly made out of these animals. Right? Next is Arctic fox, a wild animal there. Okay, it's a very cute looking animal, but very dangerous. Fox itself is a wild animal, isn't it? See, the fox is actually jumping to break the ice to get the fish inside it. A hunting technique which usually foxes won't do, but Arctic fox does it. Okay, it jump and break the ice and catch the fish under it. Next, polar bear. So when we think about the polar region, polar bears are the animals that come to our mind, isn't it? Very huge bears and very thick furry body. Right? Yes. Then walrus are also known as the sea elephants. Okay. These are the major animals that are seen over there. Still are there Arctic jackals are there. Plenty of other animals are also there. But these are the most common animals we can see there. And these animals are either grown or hunted. For example, polar bear kind of animals it's very impossible to grow. But nowadays we have technology to grow these kinds of animals there. But most often these animals are killed to get the flesh, the fat in their body and the fur. Right? Okay. Now we will think about the birds. Arctic region has a wide range of beautiful birds. Okay. So some varieties of petrels are there. Seagulls and other kinds of birds are seen there. Puffins are some of the most beautiful birds in the world. And then a snow owl. Owls are there in this region also, right? And they usually eat on the smaller animals like snow squirrels are there, snow rabbits are there, snow hares. Okay, there are some kinds of animals which also we can see in those regions. Then eider duck. The king eider duck is one of the most beautiful birds in the world. Quite beautiful, isn't it? And Arctic terns. It's an amazing bird. Arctic tern is a bird which migrates from the North Pole to the South Pole during winter season. Okay, from North Pole to the South Pole. Very efficient migratory birds. Okay, so these are some of the animals that we can see there. And what are the major varieties of fish that we get there? Seals, salmon, trout, whales, cods are the most common varieties of fish found in this region. Okay, Then we know salmons are very famous fish. Then whales, one of the biggest animals in the world. So Arctic Ocean and the Northern Atlantic Ocean region are actually the best places where we can see. This is a humpback whale. Then we have sperm whales, blue whales. Okay, we can see plenty of whales in this region, especially. And cod. You might have heard about the cod liver oil. A small golden capsule which have got a golden oil inside it, golden colored oil. It's very, the smell is very nasty smell. But it's very good. The oil inside it is very good for our body, right? So this is a fish from which we get that oil. Then trout and salmon are common fish over there. Seals and whales, these animals are actually hunted by the people over there. One of the most important industry over there, one is the fur hunting, second is the fish hunting. Fish hunting, because this kind of animals we cannot catch easily, right? So these animals like Arctic fox or a polar bear or a walrus or a seals or whales, these animals are majorly hunted for two purposes. One is of course the meat. Second, the animals like blue whale or whales and seals, see, inside the skin they have a very thick layer of fat. Inside the skin they have a very thick layer of fat, and it is this fat that helps these animals survive the extreme cold conditions over there. Okay, so because of this thick layer of fat under their skin, the cold outside will not go into their body. When we think about the polar bear or Arctic fox or such kind of animals, or this musk ox, they have very thick, long hair coating on their body, right? So there will be air inside this hair. Okay, if there are 5 or 6 strands of hair like this, there are open spaces, gaps there, and there will be air locked in that. So from the heat of the body, this air also will be heated up, and this heat air actually prevents the cold outside from reaching their body. So this fur coating, the thick long hair growing on the body of these animals, and the thick layer of fat inside the skin of these animals, this fat is called a blubber. Okay, so this fat inside the body of this animal is called a blubber, right? So this blubber and this fur, in addition to the meat that these animals give, are the main reasons by which they kill these animals. Because the people, if they have to survive, they need to protect themselves from the extreme cold conditions, isn't it? They do not have a blubber in the body. Do human beings have a blubber? No. Do they have a thick furry skin? No. So they use the skin of these animals to protect themselves from the extreme cold conditions, and this fat that they get from these animals, they use as a fuel. If they want to light a lamp, this fat is used as the fuel in that. Okay? So these are the main purposes by which they used to hunt these animals. And Greenland is one region in the world where we cannot see any kind of reptiles. Reptiles means, yes, snakes or crocodiles or those kinds of animals. Okay? So now, the people of Greenland. So people of Greenland are known as Eskimos. So Eskimos are the people who live in the extreme cold conditions over there. See the kind of dress they wear. It's all fur coat so that they can protect themselves from extreme cold conditions over there, right? And the coat that the hooded coat that they wear, wearing is called a parka. Okay, parka is a hooded coat that is usually worn by the Eskimos, because that fur coat is extremely important for them, because otherwise they cannot protect themselves from the extreme cold situations. The tribal people over there is called Inuit. Inuit is a tribal people or the original people who live there. They are not settled people, they are actually wanderers. They wander from one place to other in search of food. Wherever it is possible for them to hunt, they will stay there for a while. When the season changes, they move on to the other regions where they can easily catch a fish. So, Inuit is a tribal people, and in their language, Inuit means a real man. They consider they are the real men on this world, and they also mean eater of a raw meat. It's true that Inuit eat raw meat. See, when we want to eat meat, we cook it, isn't it? Either we cook it or we fry it or we do something with that. But these Inuit people, they catch the fish, they split it open and eat it as we eat a banana or apple. They are not much concerned about even cooking them. Yeah, now there are changes. Obviously, now there are changes, but that was their style of living. Right? Now, this is the house where they live. It's completely made out of snow. So they have thick layer of snow everywhere, no? So this snow is cut into blocks, and that block is kept one above the other, and they make a dome. And from this dome, there is a narrow passage that is being stretched out. Okay, so this is the dome, and in front of the dome there is another passage. So through this passage, they have to crawl inside, and then they will get into this igloo. This is an igloo, and see there are gaps here and there, isn't it? So they won't use a cement or something like that when they build this igloo. They cut this, keep one above the other, and there will be definitely gaps in between that. For that, what they do is they will they will burn fire inside it. So what happens when the temperature increases, the ice in this will get melted and they will start to flow down the wall, and all such gaps will be cleared in that. Still, there will be some small holes here and there, which actually does the purpose of ventilation. The hot air to go out, the cool air to come inside. All these ventilation will be carried by these small holes. Okay, so that is igloo, right? And they use a wide varieties of. They used to use a wide varieties of weapons like harpoons, big hooked swords, kind of things to hunt the animals. So sometimes they have to hunt in the water. Sometimes they have to hunt on the land. Sometimes they have to break the ice. Okay, on the seashore areas during winter, there will be water below, but the top part will be covered with the snow. So they will break the snow and they catch a fish from under the water in that. Okay, so they used to use a wide varieties of tools also. Then these are one of the most important animals as far as these regions are concerned. They are known as huskies. Huskies are nothing else but a variety of dogs which is usually seen in these cold regions. Alaska is one region where these dogs are extremely used for transportation also. So we know Santa Claus. The headquartered old man related to Christmas. Okay? So we believe that this Santa Claus comes in a sleigh, and that sleigh is pulled by deers. Which deers are there? Reindeers. We have seen in the beginning the first kind of animal that we have seen. Yes. So these reindeers are actually used for pulling the sleighs. Sleigh means nothing else but two long sticks kind of stuffs which has got all the things that they can put on. Right? A cart without wheel. These sticks can easily move on the ice, and these reindeers are used for pulling them. Okay, we might have seen, the Santa Claus is sitting on a vehicle pulled by the reindeer. Yes, that vehicle is called the sleigh. Right? So usually reindeers are used, but the huskies are excellent in pulling them. Okay, a pack of this is actually a picture. So we can see the chains and all. So there is a pack of something around 4 to 8 huskies tied together on a rock, and that rope is connected to the sleigh, and these huskies work as the engine for that. They run, the vehicle also moves. And these dogs are just like we have bullock carts. Simply, just like a bullock pull the bullock carts, these dogs pull those sleighs. Right? Then, in the olden days, life in Greenland was very critical. Only a few people who belonged to the community of Inuit were able to survive there because they are born and brought up there and they know how to cope up with the conditions over there. But still, they ate raw meat. They used bones as weapons because they were not much aware of tools or modern weapons and all. But by the time the Dutch people came there, more and more settlements happened there. Now the things have changed. Now we have settlements there. Now we have some areas, coastal areas especially, not in the interior regions. Coastal areas of Greenland are, we have got settlements. We have got schools there, education institutions there, hospitals are there, government offices are there, industries are also there. Okay, electricity is produced there, right? So now the wandering communities of Inuits are also brought down to the settlements, and they live a settled life in permanent houses, not igloos, right? So now we have got a very good settlement areas in the coastal region of Greenland. Then fur industry is one of the leading industry there. We have got the fur farms. Fur farms means because of extensive hunting. So usually the people used to hunt down these animals, kill them and take the fur. Okay, fur means not just the hair, it's with the skin. So you have to kill the animal to take it. It's not like a sheep rearing. Okay, so sheep when we grow, the hair on the body grows, we shear it, isn't it? We cut the hair. Nothing will happen to the sheep. In the next 3 to 4 months, it will grow again. But the fur industry is a different one. They need to cut the animal with its skin. So if you want to get the fur, you have to kill the animal. Right? You will not get a two fur from the same animal. That's a problem. So now they have started extensive fur farming. Means these animals are industrially grown. Okay? They are caught and they are grown by giving them food. And once when they reach a particular stage, they kill these animals and take the fur out. Okay? And the fur farming and the fur processing is a very famous industry there. Most of the fashion designing industry is based on this fur farming in Greenland. Right? Then, tourism also has improved very much in many of the regions of Greenland. Not everywhere, but only at some areas. So earlier, the sleighs were pulled by huskies or reindeers, but now they have motorized sleighs are there. A scooter type of a sleigh, which has got an engine there, it has got long pads are there, which can help them to sleigh. And this chain actually helps in the braking, stopping the vehicle and all. Okay, so this motorized sleighs are known as a skidoo. What are they called? They are called skidoos, right? Fishing is another major industry there. They catch a lot of varieties of fish, and the fish processing industry is another major industry also there. Okay, canned fish. They catch these fish, they process the fish and pack them and send them. We have got this, dry fruits and all these kinds of things available in the market. No? Yes, in the same way, they pack these fish and export it to the various parts of the world. Right? So, after, so the major industries over there are now tourism is an industry, seafood processing is an industry, means fish processing is an industry, then fur farming and fur processing another industry. Recently, we have identified a large amount of mineral deposits also in Greenland. Though the land is buried something around 2 to 3 kilometers of deep snow, Greenland has got a very good amount of mineral deposits also. The people over here are quite friendly people, usually. Uh, they often organize a large number of entertainment activities, like husky racing is an activity. Husky racing, because that is a widely grown dog breed over there. Then ice fishing. Ice fishing, when the rivers or the sea region gets completely frozen into ice, so they will give some time limit, like so say for example for 2 hours they will give a time limit, and they need to cut the hole. The participant has to cut the hole and put the fishing line through the hole and catch fish. So how many fish can they catch within a 2 hours time? Okay, these kinds of entertainment activities are there, right? They love football a lot. The people over there, they play football on ice fields. They play football on ice fields. So ice field football is played only in this region, nowhere else, right? So earlier people were very wild in nature there. As we have seen, no, they used to hunt these animals. They were nomads. They traveled from one place to other. They ate raw fish, raw meat. Even if it is a polar bear, if they were able to kill it, they will split it open and eat the raw flesh as it is. Okay, but nowadays with the colonization of the Dutch people and establishment of new settlements over there, motorized boats are used, modern weapons are used, new industries are also established there. Now, Greenland is much more land than the earlier days, right? So, that is a lesson part, and now we will go on to the activity.